a voter's card so that you are able to help when it comes to making decisions of Uganda's economy. Now, looking at that, the Electoral Commission yesterday started the 22-day exercise, which ends on February 10th. So I continue to remind you that you will not be able to vote in case you do not have this voter's updated registration card. Now, moving forward again, we see that hundreds have been bounced on, hundreds will be bounced on day of voters in case you do not have this card. So feel free to get it for yourself so that you can be able to be part of the decision makers, like I said. Now, the NRM party drags feet on opposition poll reforms. The Uganda Citizens Compact on free and fair elections demands credible and independent judiciary which can competently and credibly adjudicate all electoral disputes as they rise after the polls. Yes, and moving forward again in the Daily Monitor, we see the full detail about was it a failed robbery or an execution. Now, there are many questions that do not have answers after the January 13th shooting of 6 suspected criminals in the Kampala city. Need I say that actually 3 of them passed away on the crime scene, and whereas 3 of them were able to survive. Now, looking at that, we see that some of the suspected criminals in the Kamocha killing or shooting include Amis Muhammad, also known as Chemical, shot dead. We also see that Sheriff Lukwago was shot dead. Fahad Katongole, also known as Kawesa, was shot dead. Muzamir Kamoga was arrested. Innocent Tuyisabe, also known as Adam, was shot dead. Manihiro Zake, also known as Daddy Easy, was shot dead. And lastly, Michael Sebaka was shot dead. So according to the front page of the Daily Monitor, 6 of these gentlemen were shot dead, whereas 1 of them was arrested. But of course, there was a lot of questions around that scenario, given that there are a number of ways to solve such things, such as just casual arrests. However, we see that these charges also led to the demise of these 6 gentlemen. So moving forward again, we see that the golden age starts now, says Trump, as he hits out at Biden. So Mr. Trump is the first felony to occupy the White House after the New York jury that found him guilty for falsifying business records. Now, of course, we continue to welcome His Excellency His Excellency Donald Trump into his second seat of the Parliament, or just the judiciary of the Republic of the United States of America, and I hope that that will mean something good for Uganda's economy as we move forward again into the as well new elections of 2026. Now, the primary leaving examinations will be released this very week, and of course, we would love to congratulate those who have been able to attain this milestone, and we hope that the future is just starting out for you, as it is a bright one. We recently saw that the Makerere University graduates had an increase in the PhD graduates, and that was at 121 graduates this year. And we also see an article about the value of PhDs, and that is coming in from a number of the people who were able to graduate, and we continue to congratulate them. Then when it comes to regional news as well, we see that where children value petty trade more than school. Now, when we look at the economy of Uganda and the importance of the education system that we are currently having, we see that there is a lot of children in the rural areas who are opting to already start making a living, and should I say that they are supposed to be attaining their primary examinations. So we see that the district education officer says that the dropout rate is at more than 20%. And when we look at that, this could be attributed to a number of factors that could be self-inflicted or probably inflicted by the conditions that they are facing every other day. Now, the Kalangala oil palm growers lose livelihoods to deadly caterpillars. That is also a conversation. And however, we see that the quote of the day in the Daily Monitor is coming in from Joel Sonyonyi on the issue of the voter registration. We see that he says that the regime is afraid of the young voters who want change, and they have made the exercise so rigorous by asking the new voters to be verified by the LC1, PISO, the DSO, the RDCs, which is just a big way of discouraging. Now, moving forward again, we see that legislators' ideas on education reform a quarter century ago. And also Bobby Wine may ignore Muhozi, but not Salim Saleh. That is also an article coming in, and it is from Mr. Nicholas Sengoba, who says that it is also unlikely that a much younger generation will be given a free rein without the firm hand of the veterans of 1986. And of course, when we talk about the veterans, we know that that is none other than the ruling party that so happens to be the NRM. And as we talk about this conversation, of course, be reminded that we are soon hitting our Liberation Day, which so happens to be the 26th of January 2025. So we congratulate, of course, the Republic of Uganda for that attainment of that day and celebration. Then to the graduates who have been able to attain this achievement recently last week, there is an article for you that talks about what you can do after graduation so that you can be able to set yourself well for the career or employment journey ahead of you. Then something that is commonly talked about, I'm actually happy that it is in today's Daily Monitor, is talking about knowing your purpose will power you in the year 2025. And it says that to stay ahead this year, you need more than just technical know-how. You need to understand your purpose, but also have a strategy that will not only keep you competitive, but help you grow, adapt, and stay resilient in the face of change. Yes. And maybe a little bit more of what stories are being made in the that are making headlines in the Daily Monitor. We see that the digital shift is sealing tax leakages. We also see why insurance should be your friend, and this is a conversation that we are continuously bringing to you here on Smart 24. So please look into starting yourself or just getting your business or yourself insured in the year 2025. We also see ECOOP Chambogo University to partner to skill students. And to date, 128 graduate trainees have benefited from training through the graduate training programs, and 13 train the trainer sessions. Then government tasks Airtel to build on gains so far reached. And engineers on the spot over misuse of funds. So that and more, I believe, is what you can be able to read when you get yourself a copy of today's Daily Monitor. However, as children or as students and pupils prepare to head back to school, we see that 2,700 teachers to fight mpox in schools. Now, if you are in this space and you are a parent looking into taking your child back to school, some of the things that you should be reminded is that health is wealth. So make sure that your children are well cared for and are safe from these communicable diseases that are not yet having a certain cure per se. Now, the government has developed operational guidelines for schools on prevention, detection, and control of the deadly diseases. Of course, that and more is what is making the stories in today's Daily Monitor. Let's take a brief look at what is happening in the New Vision. Of course, starting off light and heavy, I should say, it is the front page is looking at Trump and what Uganda expects from his leadership. And of course, that briefly looks at trade relations, access to U.S. markets expected to grow, protection of marriage values. Trump pledges a golden era or a golden age. Now, President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni promises closer bilateral ties with the United States of America. However, we also see that some of the stories making the headlines or the front page of New Vision, we see that Besigye rejects prison food. And Otafire to Amonji, he tells Amonji to prove her worth. Now, 4 have been arrested over organ harvesting. Moving forward again, we see that voters register update kicks off. This is something I've talked about before. You should be reminded that the Electoral Commission kick-started this initiative, and it started yesterday, and it is going to go on for the next 22 days. That is until the 10th of February 2025. Then there is an article about the NRM leaders being urged to protect their achievements, and Besigye rejects prison food. And basing off this, we say that Besigye and Lutale are accused of possessing 2 pistols and 8 rounds of ammunition. And this is a situation that has been going on for the previous number of days, or months, should I say. Now, the First Lady welcomes cybersecurity training for the youth. We should be reminded the First Lady, Her Excellency Janet, she is the Minister of Education and Sports. So we see that she has been doing a lot when it comes to this space to be able to enable you and I to attain a number of education that we may be able to need for ourselves. And we see that she welcomes cybersecurity training for the youth, given that there is a vast space on technological advancement. Now, we also see His Excellency Kaguta Museveni meets the delegation from the White House. And Museveni also eulogizes former MP of Bisesera. And of course, may his soul rest in peace. And we continue to talk about His Excellency Donald Trump, who pledges a golden era. Now, interestingly, I was following some of the stories to do with Trump's new era, and he says that the USA only recognizes two genders, and that is being the male and the female, right? And we see that Uganda is also one of those countries that has refused to accept the issue of homosexuality or LGBTQ. So what does this mean for the next generation that was claiming to switch changes because of genders, because of the issue of human rights? So when we see that, of course, we see that he also changed the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America. Those have been his very fast, immediate changes. We hope that, of course, that they are going to be leading the whole country as well as the whole world to a positive change. You know, it is commonly said that when the USA sneezes, the rest of the world gets a cold. Yes. Now, moving forward again, we see that Uganda's hopes for the new Trump era. There is an article about that. Then also the government moots plans to construct houses for Kitezi victims. And also Makerere University directed to teach political economy. And we see again that the economic task ahead as we mark NRM's 39th anniversary. Of course, that and more is what you will find when you grab yourself a copy of the Daily Monitor as well as the New Vision. And you know we are dedicated to keeping you updated with what is happening in the business space, both locally, regionally, internationally. So please stay tuned as we go for a break and come back with Karibu East Africa as well as international affairs. This is Smart 24.